Legend of Total War here, and today we've got a Rating Your Doomstack video covering an Armoured Chaos Troll Doomstack, where we've got 17 Armoured Chaos Trolls playing as the Puppets of Misrule, although it doesn't matter which Warriors of Chaos faction we're playing as. We've got a Chaos Sorcerer of Fire that's on a War Shrine that's undivided. We've got Harold Hammerstorm that's able to provide some buffs for the entire army. It is possible for him to provide flaming attacks for the entire army, which would be bad in this situation, but he luckily didn't get that skill. And we've got a regular melee Chaos Lord here, so everything's all undivided. Going up against the Chaos Dwarfs, we've got two full stacks coming at us here, and the funny thing in this situation is that the guy who sent this in has set up his own Doomstack to fail in this situation. In Order Resolve, we win, right? But due to the way that we usually test Doomstacks, this actually completely fails this test, right? But I know for a fact that this is a good Doomstack because I use it in my own campaigns. The problem here is that he's gone up against a direct counter to have his own Doomstack look like crap. So anyway, let's jump into the battle and I'll explain a few things. So first thing, I do use this Doomstack in my own campaign. I know it's a very good Doomstack, but it is not a 10 out of 10 Doomstack. It's not the kind of army that you can just bring in and just win against everything. You do need to actually think a little bit about what you're doing, because Chaos Trolls, they don't have particularly good leadership. They're significantly buffed over what they were in previous Total War games. So in Warhammer 1 and 2, when I would say just never recruit these units, that's not the case now. I pretty much like always recruit these units, but we also have to recognize that they're not invincible, right? So there are a number of ways, firstly, that these guys have been boosted in Total War Warhammer 3 that they didn't have in Warhammer 1 and 2. The first thing is the amount of missile resistance you can potentially have. So you've got the Gift of Chaos that provides the missile resistance and Shatterstone, I think plus 15% for that. And in the tech tree, I think they get an additional 30% missile resistance as long as they are rank 4 or above. And then you've got 5% ward save through the red line, as long as they're above rank 7. They had that in Total War Warhammer 1 and 2. And then on top of this, they've also got extra 5 melee attack for every spice resource that has been acquired, which this guy here has acquired quite a few in his campaign. But here's the thing. We're going up against a very fire-heavy area of effect, very dangerous army here. So I've fought this battle a couple of times, and it's not an easy fight. You can see here that the balance of power is not in our favor, and there's a number of ways that we could go about it, and I'll just explain what happens when you do it. So if you go wide like this and just charge in, the Dreadquake mortars don't end up doing much damage to us, but the infantry obliterate us, because what ends up happening is that the infantry sort of get stuck in amongst these gaps because they fight in loose formation. And this is just not an effective way to use monstrous infantry in general, because monstrous infantry have always performed better when they've got support. So if it's like half monstrous infantry and half melee infantry, they'll perform better because you can clog in those gaps with other units. Or when you blob up like this, right, you make it so that they're actually in tight formation. Problem is, it makes them way more vulnerable to Dreadquake mortars, so that's a problem as well. Now, the other thing is that if we fight this battle and blob up like crazy, and just charge in like this, well then the Dreadquake mortars absolutely obliterate these guys. They fire really quickly, they do tons of area effect and damage over time effects, and they will basically kill off the entire army. So, like I said, this guy has sent in his own Doomstack to fail when I know this is a good Doomstack. But the thing is, he's forced my hand here to do something that I normally don't do in disaster battle. In Doomstack battles, and that's to cheese it a little bit, because in order for these guys here to even showcase just how good they can be, I have to get rid of the Dreadquake mortars. They are the biggest problem. These guys here have no way of handling it. But what we can do is just do nothing. If we just let the Dreadquake mortars shoot at our Lord here, we can take him out of the equation. Don't forget, these guys here are the attacker, so as long as you have a large enough Lord that they're willing to shoot at you, this is totally viable to do on any battle difficulty. But like I said, he forced my hand in this battle to do this. I wouldn't normally do it. If I don't do this, we lose because of the Dreadquake mortars. They just can't handle it. Now, we will take that into consideration in terms of rating it. That's why this army will never get a 10 out of 10, because 10 out of 10 armies have to be able to handle every single situation, including this, and be able to triumph on them. And it can't. It just can't handle it. And sometimes you get that with people. They send in their doom stacks against armies that they actually can't handle. But they're actually good doom stacks. And some people send in crap doom stacks and go up against shit armies that are like, it's like they're the hard counter to. So the type of army that you go up against really does matter. But yeah, as soon as we get rid of the Dreadquake mortals, I'm pretty sure the Bounce of Power will still be in their favor. But then what we're going to do is fight them as I would have normally fought in any other battle. But there's so many bloody Dreadquake mortars here. Thing is, most of the time you're going up against an enemy that just doesn't have this degree of oomph. Because the way that the Chaos Trolls really sort of thrive is up against slower enemies. Slower damage enemies. And the Chaos Dwarves just dish out so much damage really quickly. So these guys don't get a chance to regenerate. Okay, with the... hang on, just a couple more shots left. Okay. So, now we fight this as we were going to do in the first place, without worrying about losing the battle. Due to the Dreadquake mortars. A unit that they just can't handle. Everything else they can handle. They just cannot handle the Dreadquake mortars. But yeah, I tried out just charging at the enemy in like a straight line. They didn't win. I tried blobbing and charging at the beginning. They didn't win. Tried all kinds of like cycle charging and stuff. They couldn't win. It was all because of the Dreadquake mortars. So with the this guy here, we've got the extra leadership, which that's another thing that makes them better in Warhammer 3, because you can actually keep them significantly in line with that. And also the Giver of Glory, which provides up to 20% physical resistance. You got to get some kills though. And I know a lot of people will look at this and be like, oh my god, why is he always blobbing his units? The thing is with monstrous units like this, they really do perform a lot better when they're in a blob like this, as long as they're not getting bombarded. Because for one thing, they're getting all the buffs from all the heroes. If we have a look at them, we've got Eldritch Aura providing additional missile resistance. So I think that's coming in from the Chaos Sorcerer. They're getting the Blasted Standard, so they've got some missile block chance as well. Giver of Glory, that's not really come into effect yet. Brass Cleaver. Paragon of Ruin, so that's making them immune to psychology, so they're not going to get terror routed, so that's good. So Bounce of Power, not in our favor, despite the fact that we took out the Dreadquake mortar ammo, still not in our favor. So this is really what we should be testing it out against. Basically, they couldn't handle the Dreadquake mortars, they just can't handle it at all. But the army can handle it. And that's the big thing. Your units don't have to be able to handle every situation. There's only a handful of units in the game that really can do that. Alright, let's charge in. Just keep him flying up above. We're not going to be using any magic at all. I've already cheesed as much as I want to in this battle now. But I will use this ability here. Okay, and have him land. See, what you'll see now is that these guys are fighting in tight formation. The infantry can't get in amongst the gaps, because there are no gaps. And what we end up happening is the damage is occurring very slowly now. But sometimes you'll go up against units that just fuck your troops up big time, and you've got to find a way to get rid of them. Okay, cool. We're going to get completely surrounded here, and you can see that we're just not really taking that much damage. One dude just died there. Okay, they'll probably aim for the War Shrine. They love doing that. So this guy here is up to 33% intensity and going up quickly. You see we are taking damage. Loads of flaming attacks everywhere. Got other abilities here, I'm just not going to use them. But yeah, we're almost completely surrounded. But the main thing here is that everybody is getting those big buffs. And as long as none of them rout, it doesn't matter that we're surrounded. No, I'm not going to do that. We're trying to rely on the trolls. But they do need support. They just need it. If we used Flaming Sword of Ruin, providing flaming attacks on us here would be detrimental to us. Because it only improves our base weapon damage as well, not our armor piercing, which is the majority of what we've got. This is why I think that a metal wizard would have actually been a lot better. Popping down either final transmutation or transmutation of lead would have been really good. Okay, yeah, we're completely surrounded, but they're taking more damage than us. The Kadai Destroyer has done... That's a bit... That's a dangerous unit for these guys. Now the reason I landed the General is because they were clearly targeting him, and now they're obstructed. See, the line of sight's a big issue. They can very clearly see our trolls, but they just can't shoot now. Could use Cascading Fire Cloak, but that only gives it to one unit, so it's not that big of a deal. Like I said, I need to give some degree of an advantage to them after what we've done. Just having Harold stay in this area so that he doesn't draw other units away. But we're not trying to rely on him in this battle. Now, funny thing as well is that if we had gone up against any other faction with any other type of artillery, we would have rushed at them. If it was High Elves with Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, we just would have rushed at them. Hellstorm Rocket Batteries, rush. Cathay Artillery, rush. Dwarf Artillery, rush. Chaos Dwarf Artillery, waste their ammo. Too dangerous. Simply just too dangerous. Skaven, rush. Stay in the middle of them though. So this one here has taken quite a bit of damage, but its leadership is still holding. It's all just thanks to all the different things that we can do now to keep them in line. Even the Infernal Iron Sword not really dishing out that much damage with their ammunition. This one's taking a fair bit of damage actually. Kind of want to pull it out before it gets wiped out. Balance of power starting to move in our favour. So yeah, in a straight up brawl, the trolls actually win. Despite the melee cheats working against them. Maybe you're okay over here. Despite going up against units that are a direct counter to them. Just everything's got bloody flaming attacks. So they're doing 20% extra damage than they would normally. You wouldn't normally send in a troll doomstack to go fight Chaos Dwarves. You'd use something else. You got plenty of other things in your arsenals. You could have sent them up against the vampire counts. You could have sent them up against Cathay, Greenskins. All would have performed better than Chaos Dwarves. Like I said, he set me up to fail. Okay, we can now spread out a little bit because their units have been thinned out considerably and we don't want to get shot. I kind of think we're still going to end up with a Pyrrhic victory. Because we have taken... But then again, we are up against a lot of force. I'm not sure. It'll either be close victory or Pyrrhic. There's no way it'll be decisive. No way to be heroic. We took too many casualties. Then again, this one here, it's at just under half its numbers. And that's the most damaged unit. Oh, hang on. No, we got one over here that's really badly smashed. Now, remember, Auto Resolve gave us a win with only one unit getting wiped out. So if any of our units get wiped out, then I didn't do as well as Auto Resolve. Okay, the single entities that are giving us grief here. Oh, yeah, we got a couple of units that really need to be pulled out of combat. Nope, come on, get it out. Okay, there's the army losses. Cool. Alright, none of the units got wiped out, but fair bit of damage. Fair bit of damage. Just need to get rid of these Kadai destroyers now. If you ever look at how much damage one of them's done, it's not so bad. Yeah, these guys are unbreakable. Okay, and there we go. Oh, I was not expecting that. Man, we must have been really outpowered. Okay. Okay. Well, okay. I didn't realize how I guess this army is just really good in auto-resolve then. I mean, we did do better than what the auto-resolve said, but I took out 5 units worth of Dreadquake mortars at the very start at no value to them. And we definitely could have done better if I had cast some spells. That's the big problem, I suppose, with doing these rating your Doomstack videos. If I 100% try hard in these battles, obviously I can do a better result. But then I'm not really testing out the Doomstack and people complain. So there's like a line that can sometimes be very difficult to find where it is. What is the appropriate amount of cheese? Do I just charge in every single situation despite that obviously not being the right call? Okay, so we'll get to the next turn and I'll explain why this is actually a good Doomstack. Despite the fact that that was a pretty rough fight. And they're definitely not like a 10 out of 10 Doomstack. Because they fit the Warriors of Chaos quite well at the moment. Come on. And that's something you need to take into consideration when building your armies in Total Warhammer 3, is about convenience. When we've all seen the Doomstack that took somebody 300 fucking turns to make, and they've gone around and sailed to every single resource, and then they just roll over everything. But that takes a monumental amount of effort. Whereas, this is the crux of what makes the Troll Doomstack really effective. Chaos Trolls are everywhere, right? You can recruit them just about everywhere. If we have a look over here, 3 Chaos Trolls. We have a look over here, 2 Chaos Trolls. Over here, 1 Chaos Troll. They're very abundant. Whereas other Doomstack type units for the Chaos Warriors of Chaos, they're like require you to get a gift of chaos sorted. Like for example, the Greater Demons, the Dragon Ogre Shaggoths, and Chosen take a long time to build as well. So when it comes to the Warriors of Chaos, it's just, you got to take into consideration convenience of recruiting, and it doesn't take that long to build an army of trolls, and it's really quite cheap. Now, another thing that makes them effective as you progress through the campaign is spices. Now, I just need to find where he actually got some. If I go like this, I'll be able to find it. I think if I click spices, no, that doesn't show it to me. Alright, I just got to remember where the hell spices actually are. I know there's some spices out this way, but he hasn't gone up that way. I got to go through his provinces, actually try to find the damn spices. Because I can't remember where all the damn resources are. Oh, okay, there we go, Imperial Road. Okay, so melee attack +5 for Chaos Trolls and Chaos Feral Manticore units. So that's, you got one of those there. You've got another one here, so he's got +10 melee attack. Another one here, so that's 15. Okay, yeah, at Kofur, this is what I was talking about. There are some settlements that have spices are at ports, and because you can only build one build slot there, you can't actually get use of the spice, so that's completely wasted there. There's nothing he can do about that. It's not his fault. Right, so he's only got 3 of the spice resources, so plus 15 extra melee attack. But there are plenty of spices out there, especially in Lustria, and I know that there's one over here at like the Palace of Ruin. So there's other spice resources. And that being said, extra melee attack is great, but it's not essential. Now, in terms of rating this, alright, let's get over here. In terms of strength ranking, it's not super strong, right? It is strong, for sure, but it can't just beat everything, because that was a tough opponent, and there's other types of doom stacks that you can build that would have been able to handle that and just shrugged it off. For usually single entity doom stacks that have a Nurgle caster or hero to heal them, which wouldn't have helped in this situation here. We wouldn't have been able to get it anyway because we're playing as Zinch. So in terms of strength, it's like sort of medium high. Can't beat everything, something like an 8 out of 10 in terms of strength. In terms of ease of use, it's fairly easy to use it. You throw them into melee and you only need to start adjusting what they're doing if they're getting excessively shot or fighting things that they can't deal with. 90% of what you go up against, the Chaos Trolls will be able to handle. Chaos Dwarves were a really bad choice because of all the flaming attacks. Go anywhere else except here and they'll perform a lot better. Except for maybe the High Elves because they got a lot of flaming attack as well. Now, in terms of convenience, that's where this one here gets top marks. This is one of the most convenient armies for the Warriors of Chaos to build. It's very easy to get just one Chaos Sorcerer of Fire. You do not need Harold Hammerstorm at all in this army. If you have a look at him, yeah, he didn't get Dead Slayer, which is what provides flaming attack for the entire army. And that's good. That would have been really bad. But if you have a look over here, we've got Armor plus 15 for the Hero's army. Melee Defense plus 6 for the Hero's army. And that's it. I mean, melee defense plus 6 is definitely good, don't get me wrong. But you don't need to have him in this army. And what I usually find in my campaigns as Warriors of Chaos, especially in campaigns that end up going to this length, is that I build multiple of these armies. And if they ever get destroyed, it's not really that big of a deal because they're that easy to replace. So in terms of cost effectiveness and convenience, that's what makes this doom stack actually really quite effective. But by no means, don't just build this and think that you're going to win in all situations. You still need to be relatively careful about the enemies that you go up against. If it's a one army versus one army and you've got this much experience in your troops and that much spices, then you'll probably be fine. But if you go and besiege Tsar Nagrin and they've got a doom stack already sitting in there and this huge settlement garrison, they've all got flaming attacks, then maybe just be a little bit careful and consider wasting the ammunition of their Dreadquake mortars. Because I guarantee you, if I had not done that, I would have actually lost the battle instead of gaining a heroic victory. So trying to give you guys as much information as possible so you can make an informed decision about whether or not you want to build this doom stack. At the end of the day, if you want to put just a couple of Chaos Trolls in your army and just have a mix of troops, you're totally able to do that. This is actually a really good unit to recruit in Total War Warhammer 3. Anyway, I think I've covered everything that I need to when it comes to this unit. I actually really like them in Total War Warhammer 3. I use these ones all the time. It's complete opposite of what it used to be like in Warhammer 2. Anyway, it's the end of this one. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for sending this in, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.